It's first thing in the morning, and I obviously haven't had enough coffee, and I cannot say the word Zephaniah. Zephaniah. Why can't I say that word this morning? I'm standing in my studio. It's 6 o'clock in the morning, and I'm trying to get warmed up to do my show, and I cannot say the word Zephaniah. And right in the middle of that frustration, my youngest son walks out of his bedroom, half asleep, on his way to the bathroom. He gives me a wave, and he keeps on walking. He doesn't break stride. He doesn't have to say a word, because this is just what mornings look like at Dad's house. There's a weight that fathers carry that doesn't get talked about very much. It's not the weight of providing. It's not the weight of showing up. It's not the weight of not knowing if any of this is landing. You bring them to church when they're young, you say grace at the table, and you try to model something worth following. And then they become teenagers, and then they get a job, and then they become adults, and then they're gone, and you look around and you think, did any of this take? I taught my sons how to play golf when they were young. I could do that. I knew how to do that. You grip it here, you stand like this, you keep your head down, you follow through after you swing. The boys often play with men my age now. The old guys marvel at their fluid swings, how graceful and how far they can hit it. The father isn't always there in that moment, but what he gave his sons is on clear display. I can give them that, but I cannot give them faith. That's the thing that nobody tells you when you're a new believer trying to figure out how to pass this on. You can show up for every parent-teacher conference. You can drive them to practice at 6 in the morning. You can pray for them every single day, and I do. But faith doesn't transfer the way a golf swing does. Only God can call your name. And all a father can do is make sure that his life is loud enough that his kids know exactly where he stands when that call comes. My father never cracked a Bible in front of me. I never saw him on his knees praying either. But I knew his story. French-Canadian, devout Catholic home. My grandmother was still walking through the same church doors the week she died at 93. My father was an altar boy in that church, made all his sacraments, and every Sunday, without fail, he was in that pew and kneeling. He never sat me down and told me what he believed, but he was a busy guy, and I watched him make one thing non-negotiable. And somewhere along the way, an assumption formed in me, quiet at first, stronger as I got older, that his faith was important to Dad. That if it was important enough for a busy man to protect, it was worth taking seriously when I became a man. He didn't really teach me that. He just lived it, and I did the math. My boys know dinner is late on Tuesday nights and Wednesday nights, and they've known it for years because Tuesday I'm at men's group and Wednesday I'm at church service. And on Sundays, the fellas have to wait for lunch until I get home from church, which is never before noon. I didn't make an announcement about it. I didn't ask for their permission. I just made it part of the week, the way my father made Sunday mornings part of our week. And they build around it. They hear me recording these videos through the wall every morning. They see me leave early on Sunday. They see the Bible on the table. They see the volunteering. They see what I do with my time and what I protect with my schedule. I'm not performing it for them. I'm just being a busy man who makes one thing non-negotiable. And I'm trusting that somewhere an assumption is forming, quietly at first, stronger as they get older, hopefully, the same way it formed in me. Deuteronomy 6 says, "Teach them when they sit in your house, and when you walk by the way, and when you lie down, and when you rise." Moses wasn't describing a curriculum. He was describing a life lived so visibly that faith became the wallpaper of your children's childhood. Not a program, not a requirement, not a guilt trip. Just, this is who Dad is. This is what your dad does. This is what your dad turns to when everything else runs out. My oldest son just graduated high school, and I wrote him a letter. I told him things I don't say enough. That I love him. That I'm proud of him in ways I haven't always had the words for. That I carry guilt about the divorce, and he and his brother and sister deserve better than what that season cost them. And I told him, I can't give you faith, Thomas. I could teach you the golf swing. I could show up for every parent-teacher conference. I could pray for you. But faith is between you and God. Only He can call your name. And I gave him the letter that morning, but it was graduation night after the ceremony, after the pictures, after the noise settled down. He went to his room, and it was quiet, and he read the letter. And when he was finished, he came and found me. Letter still in his hand. He gave me a hug, and he told me he loved me too. I don't know where his faith journey is going to go from here. I can't know that. But I know he came out of that room, and he came and he found me here in the studio, and something in me settled. What do your kids see when they watch you? Let me know in the comments. I read everyone. You can't manufacture faith in your kids. You can't drag them to the altar. You can't guilt them into belief. You can't make them work hard enough to make the decision for them. But you can live it so loudly and so consistently and so honestly, including the failures, including the guilt, including the unresolved parts, that when God does call their name, they already know what it looks like to say yes, because they watched you say it through the wall every single morning. That's not a perfect father. That's a faithful one. And I think that's what God is asking of all of us dads, not perfection, direction. Proverbs 22, verse 6. Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. Not if you do it perfectly, not if they never wander, when he is old. There's mercy in that timeline if you're willing to trust it. If you're a father carrying that weight today, the weight of not knowing if it's landing, I want you to hear this. Your job is not to close the loop. Your job is to keep living it. Keep being visible. Keep being honest about what saved you. Keep praying. God closes the loop. That's not your department. That was always His department. And that's why it's never been more important to stay connected to Him in this abiding life.